Welcome to this professional development on responding to ODD in the classroom. My name is Maddie Samuel, and throughout this presentation, I will be providing information on one of the most common behavior disorders experienced by teachers in the classroom, and identify ways to manage and respond to it. At some point, all teachers will experience challenging behavior and will need to respond to it. However, when a student's misbehavior is consistent and negatively impacting on the classroom environment, there could be a larger issue at play, such as ODD. ODD stands for Oppositional Defiant Disorder and is characterized by a consistent pattern of defiant, disobedient, and aggressive behavior towards authority figures, typically being parents and teachers. As I progress through this presentation, I will be covering the signs of ODD, the impact of ODD on an individual's learning, ways to cope with ODD as a teacher, ways to manage ODD in the classroom, and how to create an optimal learning environment for students with ODD. While most students will get diagnosed at an early stage in life, some students may miss a diagnosis and continue to suffer as a result of not getting the right support. As teachers are some of the main authority figures in students' lives, it is important that they know the signs and recognize when there could be a greater behavior problem like ODD present. The most common behaviors seen in students with ODD is defiance or aggression when asked to do something by a teacher. Teachers may also find that students will deliberately break rules even after being explicitly told what behavior is acceptable. Students may also struggle to accept responsibility for their misbehavior and blame others around them. All of the behaviors associated with oppositional defiant disorder can have a significant impact on the student and greatly disrupt their ability to learn and demonstrate their knowledge. It is also common for students with ODD to have limited positive relationships with their classmates as well as the teachers as a result of their often hostile and combative manner. This is why forming an initial positive relationship is especially important for students with ODD. If teachers can earn their trust, it can be beneficial when more intense behavior is displayed. Students with ODD are at risk of becoming antisocial and lack a supportive friendship group, which can cause isolation and lower self-esteem. From a neurological perspective, it has been suggested that students with ODD display compromised abilities to make associations between behaviors and the outcomes of those behaviors. This is a result of a decreased sensitivity to punishment and reward, so are not motivated to the same extent that other students are. A further consequence of this can impact on their learning is deficiencies in inhibition, attention, cognitive flexibility, and decision making, all of which have a significant impact on the way children learn. When there is a student with ODD in the classroom, not only does that child suffer, but so too do the other students as well as the teacher. Teaching students with ODD can be draining, especially if they feel they are in a constant power struggle with the student. One of the most important things to remember as teachers is to not take their behavior personally. Students with ODD display this behavior towards any authority figure, so recognizing that it is your role that is triggering their behavior and not you as a person can help teachers feel less threatened by the behavior itself. There is an importance as the authority figure in the classroom to regulate your own emotions and not add to any aggressive or hostile behavior, which will only worsen the issue. While it can be difficult to not show your frustration, maintaining composure will signal to the student that they are not going to overpower you and gain full control. Remain confident in your abilities and remember that the student has a condition which may not respond to a typical behavior management system. The best thing that teachers can do is to find the appropriate strategies that work for that individual student and maintain commitment to building rapport and a positive relationship. Now that I have provided the signs and effects of ODD, I want to provide you with strategies to manage the difficult behavior that is linked to ODD. As mentioned before, calmness and consistency is vital to reducing the intensity of the behavior. Students with ODD want to make the authority figure angry and react to them, so it is important to not show the frustration you could be feeling and remain in control of your own emotions. It can also be helpful to create a sense of autonomy in all students, especially for students with ODD. If students can be provided with choices, they will feel less controlled and feel a sense of empowerment being able to control certain aspects of their learning. To encourage a positive teacher student experience, teachers should find any opportunity to build rapport with students to ensure they feel valued despite their misbehavior. It is also important to be mindful to have teaching strategies which will accommodate students with ODD to maximize their learning potential. When working through a lesson, it is crucial that you keep the lesson moving. This will keep students engaged and minimize the opportunities students with ODD have to cause disruptions. To avoid stopping a lesson to address subtle misbehavior, teachers can use proximity monitoring as well as nonverbal cues such as eye contact to draw the student back into the lesson and provide them with an opportunity to alter their behavior. Transitions between class activities can also allow for opportunities for misbehavior to increase. To avoid this, clearly prepare students for the transition to avoid confusion and to ensure students are aware of the sequence of the lesson. The design of the classroom can also significantly impact on the behaviors of students with ODD. Oftentimes, when students with ODD get overly frustrated or angry, they may need to step away from their work to calm down. Providing a specific area in the classroom for this can ensure there is a secure location the student can use to regulate their emotions. This area could include various tools that the student can use to calm down, as well as visual prompts to help them understand their emotions and where they are at. However, it is important to set clear expectations with using this area so it does not become an area for disruption. As mentioned previously, students with ODD can struggle to understand the connection between their negative behavior and the consequences that follow. To improve this, teachers can implement a visual behavior chart which outlines the positive and negative behavior the student displays and what outcomes will be for these behaviors. This can also aid students in the decision-making process when needing to change their behavior. Adopting a consistent classroom routine can also reduce the risk of disruptive behavior and improve the student's ability to know what is going to happen during the lesson. When focusing on the physical design of the classroom, students with ODD may need to be seated closer to the teacher to avoid distracting other students or be seated in a position which will minimize disengagement. I would like to wrap this presentation up by saying thank you for listening to my teacher resource on managing ODD in the classroom. I hope that these strategies can be of use to you and that you'll be able to make use of this resource in the future.